was so depressing. It was this large office where you shut the door and I used to just sit and be like, I don't know anyone in this country, in this city, in this office. Am I ever going to make friends? You know, so it was a difficult experience. I'll just give a very sort of brief introduction about myself, and then so I'm from Delhi, born and brought up here. I just did my schooling in Delhi. My whole family is in Delhi. Then did my undergrad in Delhi. Then did a master's in economics, which we'll talk about. Then I did an MBA. Studied way too much, which you should never do. So we'll talk about that as well. But in 14 years of my work experience, I worked on public policy, consulting, marketing. I've been an entrepreneur and I founded 3 companies, and I've just joined a VC fund 1 month ago. So I feel like I've had a lot of variety in my career, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's been fun. So
yeah. So again, I mean, obviously all of this will get covered as we go along. So the first question is, what were you like as a youngster growing up in Delhi? Were you clear that you wanted to do economics? What was the original thought like?
So, so we're talking about 2001-2, right? I'm a millennial. We weren't exposed at all as much as Gen Zs are. I didn't think anything. The only thing I knew is that I never thought about engineering or medicine, right? Which a lot of the girls in my school, I was in science, so a lot of the girls in my class were studying for that. That was never even something that I considered. And जो लोग वो नहीं करते थे, वो लोग Delhi University में जाते थे. And in Delhi University, there were 2 choices. You either did BCom honors or economics honors. And honestly, it wasn't thought about at all. And I just picked economics because I got in. In hindsight, I wish I'd done BCom because, as it turns out, I have a lot more interest in business than I knew at the time. But it's just like जैसे बच्चे engineering करते हैं, वैसे मैंने भी economics कर ली. So it wasn't like, when I was 15 years old, I was like, I want to do economics honors one day. Not at all.
But did you do other things in college apart from studying?
Just wasted time, I didn't do anything. I learned Spanish because I was so guilty. Delhi, so people say that IIT is a waste of time and engineering colleges are a waste of time. Those people don't know what Delhi University is like. Okay, 2 महीने पढ़ना पड़ता है साल में. अब change हो गया है because now they have like internal assessments and they have like exams throughout the year. पूरा साल waste. Okay, 2 महीने या 3 महीने पढ़ना पड़ता है maximum. Which means that like 9 months in a year, you're literally doing nothing. In fact, in my time, attendance wasn't even mandatory. So you can just chill for 9 months. And I used to feel so guilty because all I did is waste time for 3 years. I started learning Spanish because kar lo, kuch to karo life ke saath, which I can't speak a word of now. But I just didn't do anything. So I just only wasted time in college.
But having said that, you still landed up working for IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Yes. So how did you crack that?
So, I think one theme that's been consistent was in my life, and was, I knew I wanted to be in development somehow. I wanted to do something that has some impact, make some social impact. So economics to aise kar li, because I was like, chalo, itne marks mile, ye college mila hai, eco honors is a good course, did eco honors. After that, my parents were like, pehle masters kar lo, phir jo karna hai karna. So I think their thinking was that, like we just want our daughter to be educated, and in their mind it was like a tick mark ho jayega, masters bhi ho jayega, and then like she's settled, we've done our duty. So, and I also, didn't know any better because I'd wasted 3 years in college. So they were like, masters kar lo. I was like, chalo kar lete hain. Prepared for my GRE, I got into Cambridge, so that was good. So yeah, that's it. So then I went to Cambridge. I did a degree there for 2 years. And while it was a great brand, and of course I don't regret it, but again, I feel like I studied too much. It really wasn't required in the larger scheme of things. And even at Cambridge, I was quite sure. So most people at that time, so jaise ab startups hai and VC funds hai, that time it was banking, investment banking and consulting firms. So everyone wanted to get into consulting firms or investment banking. So for me, I was very clear that I want to do something in the development space. So I applied to a bunch of these, these sort of organizations in public policy, organization, sort of multilateral organizations funding, development across the world. Got into IMF again by a stroke of luck, and that's it. Then flew to America, worked there for 2 years.
Sidetracking, एक question था. How intense is the Cambridge versus Oxford rivalry, and did you ever participate in any of it? What do you think of it?
It's very intense. It's very, very intense. But I'm not a sporty person, so I didn't participate in anything. But it is very intense.
No, but like they do all kinds of things, like debating.
Everything. It's very intense. Super intense. I mean, I didn't participate, but I was always there, like, when people were participating. I was very lazy even then. So I'm the kind of person who does, if I have to do something like, study for a GRE, get into Cambridge, study there, I do it. But, beyond that, it's very difficult to get me to do anything. So I'm really, really lazy, which is why even there, it's not like, people do all kinds of things. Like you said, debating and this and that. I never did anything again. I just chilled, studied and chilled.
And which, city is more beautiful, Oxford or Cambridge, or the areas where all the colleges are? Do you have a...
Cambridge is more beautiful. So yeah, then I, went to America, worked at the IMF for 2 years. It was very exciting because, I just going to, to America, and I was young at the time, and, it's such a sort of well-known organization, and there are all these famous economists who'd come for talks. So as a young person, you're completely floored by that. But it's also a very, very difficult experience for me because I didn't know anybody in America. I literally didn't know a single person there.
Which city were you based out of?
Washington. That's where the headquarters are. And I didn't know anyone. And IMF is not like a bank or a consulting firm where it's full of young people you can be friends with. The average age over there is 70. And everyone has an office. So I had a very big office. And I didn't know, it was so depressing. It was this large office where you shut the door. And I used to just sit and be like, I don't know anyone in this country, in this city, in this office. Am I ever going to make friends? So it was a difficult experience. Ultimately, I did make friends. But it was interesting.
So who was the president then? Obama, when you were there?
Yeah, Obama was elected when I was there. So that was very interesting.
That would have been an experience.
And So, and Washington is a, completely democratic city. So it was mad when he got elected.
What was the work that you did?
I was a research assistant. Basically, that means कि Excel sheet में बैठकर एक तो research करो, and Excel sheet में बैठ के data entry करो and analysis करो. Yeah, it's just basically, it was not very fun work. At that time, it was okay because my first job, so I didn't mind. But I realized that, when I was at the IMF, I realized that it was not what I thought it would be like. I thought it would be closer to consulting or like, consulting with countries. But it's more academic. And to rise in an organization like that is very similar to how you rise in academia. You have to get published. You have to do a lot of research. That wasn't who I was. The other thing that I realized is that, I just missed India terribly. I had a blast when I was in Washington. I made really close friends. And we partied our ass off. But I just missed India all the time. So I think after that, I was very sure, okay, I want to live in India only. I don't want to go anywhere. So after finishing my contract for 2 years, what most people end up doing is then go ahead and do their PhDs. I came back and joined a consulting firm.
How was the money while working at IMF?
It was okay. Good for me. It was my first job. But,